Alright, so we're gonna use an Android Studio now to create a new project, and we're gonna show how to find, create a calculate button, click and find the sum. Right, so we gonna name sum, right, and this is gonna be Android, right, project. We gonna leave it as default, and we can do empty activity here. And leave the main activity as the default name. So now it's going to create a project which we're looking for the GUI that we want to create the components like text fields and labels and buttons, right? Just like the way that we do on the Java6 label to text field and buttons or swing. But we're gonna do it with Android Studio. So first, that one has to be under RES layout activity main.xml. So this is pretty much the graphic user interface, right, where you can start to find the label, text fields and button from here, where you can drag and drop them here. And the part that we write the code pretty much just inside your Java, right, and the first package right there where I say main activity right there. And how do we link between this? Okay, this is going to link to the, when you start, you see that code pretty much already implement for you extend app.com activity, just like when we extend application, right, for JavaX or extend JFrame or extend JApplet. But this one, the method for Java is start, but this one is on create. When it's create, it's pretty much just save instance state. Like when you launch your app, it just save the previous state and then just set content view to show this activity main, which will link to r.layout activity main, where you start to draw your label. We have one label, right? Text view is the label in this case, where we're going to say, okay, we're going to show the text, say enter numbers, right, to find the sum. So we can just replace the word hello world with that, like by default is as one label for you. And then this one, if it's too small, you can actually bold it. You can actually change the font size to make it bigger, right? So now we're going to add the text fields, and text field has type. You can do number with decimals. So I'm going to add text field right here, right? So this is a text field that we want to add. Now we may want to use layout a little bit here, because it seems like the way we put it is just put on the top, overlapping the text. See that? So if you want to use layouts, you can just drag into the layouts here. It's just like the same. We have grid layout, linear layout, right? This is like VBox, vertical box. So let's put it down here. Alright, so we get a layout and we start to put this into our layout, the label first and then add the text second, so to make it better now, right? So now we're gonna make drag another, right, number, right? So go to the bottom, right? So we have two of them now, and then we're going to make a button, so drag a button, so drag it. Alright, so this is gonna be a button, so we can just rename it to calculate. So we pretty much just done with setting up the GUI, which in Java FX you pretty much just have to write this code, right? Like all the layout, VBox, scene, label, text field, and buttons. So that part is done for you. The highlighted part is done for you with the activity main.xml. As add that into here, right? Set content view, just link that. So if I try to run this, we should be able to see it, right? Now the next part is we need to write a code, right, on action, like for the button, set on action, and when it's click, it's just calculate, right? So how do we do that? First, we have to link to the object, right? So to link to the object, the button, we use find view by ID, right? So it's also loading. That's the field that we see here, right? You can see the calculate doesn't do anything, but that's GUI. Now we're gonna make it to be functions with the button. So R pretty much refer to that res folder right here, right? And the ID, right? So now this item should have the ID, so we refer to calculate, which is the ID is the button. So dot button, right? So we refer to that ID. So this pretty much just going to return the button, which is we have to call button, right? Button equals to, like we just casting this to button, and just need to pretty much just import this, right? So this technically, if you compare to Java, here it's just like we doing create a new button right there, but this one is just linking to that button, right? Code be not creating, we just chain it from XML to the button. So the button itself, now we start to do like add the action to it, right? So we do set on click listener, right? And then we have to do new, just like in swing, right? In swing. So let's review swing again, because we don't have lambda right here on Android. So swing version, we just say right there, right? Button.add action listener. But for Android, we just say set on click listener, right? That's just different name, but it's the same principle. It's gonna call the interface action listener. This one call interface on click listener. And it's add the method action perform it for the swing, but for Android, it's add the on click, right? Which when it's on click, you can just pretty much just make it to, right, show, right, the total of number is, right? So this is what we want. So I just going to copy that, right? Which is going to refer to, let me just do system.out first, okay? And then we're going to add a dialog box. But we have to refer to num1 and num2. Num1 and num2 in this case, the text field. So we gotta create, we might just refer to that text field, right? Equals to and cast the text field. And do find view by ID again. And we have to know what's the ID for the first one. Edit text. Edit text 2. We can just name it. We can just rename our ID here num1, right? And the second one, we're just going to name it num2. And switch back to main activity here. Just import text field, right? We not create a class, we're going to import. And it's actually not text field in this case, it's called, if you look at the ID here, it say edit text. So that's why we don't have text field on Android. Text field on Android pretty much called edit text. So we need to import edit text here. Edit text, not edit field. Alright, so but it's not the button, it is the num1, right? So we will do the same with the second edit text, which is num2. So pretty much just need to rename the second one to num2. Num1, num2. Alright, so let's see, there's an error on this file. Okay, right here. Num1. Alright, so now if I refer to this, it's pretty much the variable num1 is accessed from within inner class, right? So this concept we call an inner class on click listener, right? Need to be declared. So num1 and num2 has to be final, otherwise you cannot access them. Okay. Alright, so now it said this will return the string, which it doesn't like the integer here, cannot be applied. So we're going to delete that integer first. Now let's see what happened next. Alright, so so let's say num1. What can we get? Get text actually return editable. So that's the reason why. So get text not return string. So it's return the editable text. So we have to make it to toString, .toString. Alright, so now convert that to string. Let's test this now. Alright, so 5, 6, calculate. So we since we didn't do pop-up yet, so I just make it to do on the console. So it should show on the console here if it's working correctly. On click, right? The total of two number is. So let's do the dialog box then. Or just, I'm going to test by, yeah, let's do the dialog box. But first I want to make sure it works. So I'm going to have it to show the result at the bottom right here by adding another label or text view. And that's name result. Okay, so we're going to link it back. So this is going to be final text view result, right? Equals to text view, and do the same find view by ID, right? But this one we're going to do result. We have to give the ID name result. Let's make sure we have that. And we need to import text view. So dot. It's not seeing. Result. Okay,